So you've got it, that brilliant idea, the one you're convinced could absolutely change the game. But, and there's always a but, here's the question every single entrepreneur eventually has to face: how do you know if that amazing concept can actually survive and thrive out in the real world?
Is your great idea a great business? And let me tell you, those two things are absolutely not the same. So many incredible ideas have failed, not because the product was bad, but because the industry itself was just a meat grinder.
And that, right there, brings us to the most crucial point of this whole explainer. A good idea all by itself is never enough. I mean, success isn't just about what you cook up in a lab, right? It's about the competitive jungle you're about to launch it into.
Yeah, to succeed, you really need a way to see the invisible, to spot those hidden forces that are constantly shaping your industry, the ones that are quietly deciding who wins, who loses, and honestly, how much money is even up for grabs in the first place.
And that is exactly where this comes in. Think of it like a strategic X-ray, a tool that lets you see the real bones of any industry. It's called Porter's 5 Forces, and trust me, it's the essential toolbox for anyone thinking strategically.
Okay, so what is this thing exactly? Well, at its core, Porter's 5 Forces is a simple but super powerful framework for analyzing the competition around a business. It gives you a structured way to look at an industry and just figure out, is this an attractive place to be? Is this a game worth playing, or is it a battle you just can't win?
All right, that's enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty and open up this toolbox. We're going to break down each of the 5 forces one by one. And by the end, you'll see exactly how they all click together to paint a super clear picture of any competitive landscape.
Okay, first up, the threat of new entrants. This force is all about one simple question. How easy or how hard is it for a new competitor to just show up, open for business, and start stealing your customers?
So, what stops them? Well, these are what we call barriers to entry. Think of them like the walls protecting the businesses already inside the fortress. We're talking things like massive capital requirements, the money you need just to get started, or brand loyalty that acts like a heavily guarded gate, or even government regulations that are basically a locked door. The higher these walls, the safer everyone inside is from newcomers, and the more profitable that industry can be. It makes sense, right?
Let's take online education, for example. The tech to build a learning website? Honestly, that's not a huge barrier anymore. But getting official accreditation and building a brand name that people actually trust? Wow, that is an enormous barrier. It's what keeps the industry from just being flooded with a million new players.
All right, next up, we have a force that can squeeze you from the other side, the bargaining power of suppliers. This one is all about who holds the cards in your supply chain. Because if the folks you buy from could just raise their prices whenever they feel like it, poof, your profits can vanish overnight.
So, where does a supplier get all this power? Well, it comes from a few key places. First, how many of them are there? If there are only a handful to choose from, they have a lot of power. Second, is their product totally unique? Is it something you absolutely have to have? And finally, how much of a pain is it to switch suppliers? If it's super expensive or a huge hassle, they've got you right where they want you.
Okay, here's a perfect example. Imagine you run a sustainable packaging company. Your whole brand is built on this special biodegradable material. Well, if only 2 companies in the entire world make that material, they have immense bargaining power. They can jack up their prices, and you have to take it, which just crushes your profit margin. Okay, let's flip the script for our third force, the bargaining power of buyers. Now we're looking at the power of your customers. How much leverage do they have to demand lower prices, or better quality, or more services? All things that can, you guessed it, eat into your profitability.
And what gives buyers that upper hand? It often boils down to 2 things. How many of them are there, and how much they know. So, if a few huge customers make up most of your sales, they can pretty much dictate the terms. And if they can easily switch to a competitor and they've done their homework on all their options, well, they are definitely in the driver's seat.
Just think about a local coffee shop. Let's say a huge corporation moves in next door and decides to buy coffee for all 500 of its employees every single morning. Suddenly, that one buyer has incredible power. They can negotiate these massive bulk discounts that the shop pretty much has to accept, and that directly squeezes its profits.
Now for our fourth force, the threat of substitute products. And it's so important to get this right. This isn't about a direct competitor. A substitute is a completely different way of getting the same job done. And the thing is, the presence of strong substitutes puts a hard ceiling on the prices you can ever charge. So, when does a substitute become a real threat? Usually when it offers a better deal, right?
Maybe it's cheaper, or maybe it just works better. It's also a way bigger threat if it's super easy and cheap for a customer to make the switch. If there's almost no friction, you can bet they're more likely to try the alternative.
Think about it like this. If you run a social media app, another social media app is a competitor, but an immersive virtual reality platform, that's a substitute. See the difference? It's a totally different technology that satisfies that same core need for social connection, and it could completely rewrite the rules of the game. And that brings us to the fifth and final force, the one right in the middle of it all: rivalry among existing competitors. This is all about how intense the fight is for market share among the companies already in the industry. You know, is it a friendly handshake kind of competition, or is it an all-out war?
Rivalry really heats up under certain conditions. Like, when an industry's growth is slow, the only way you can grow is to steal customers from someone else. When all the products are pretty much the same, with nothing to really set them apart, companies get forced to compete on one thing and one thing only: price. Then you add a ton of competitors fighting for the same small slice of the pie, and what do you get? You get brutal price wars that just destroy profitability for everybody.
I mean, you don't have to look any further than the electric vehicle market for a perfect example of this. One company announces a new model with a longer range and a lower price. What happens next? Immediately, every single competitor is forced to react. They've got to cut their own prices, or speed up their innovation, or launch these massive new ad campaigns. The rivalry is just fierce.
So we've walked through all 5 forces. Now let's put it all together. Because the goal isn't just to make a list of the forces. The real goal is to look at their combined strength. What you're really searching for is an industry where these forces are weak, creating an environment where a business can actually turn a profit. In this slide right here, this is the ultimate cheat sheet. It really all comes down to this. When these forces are weak, like you see on the left, that's an attractive industry with room to make money. But when the forces are strong, over on the right, they just squeeze the profitability out of the entire industry. It's that simple. Strong forces crush profits, weak forces create opportunity.
And there you have it. You now have the framework.
And this isn't just some abstract business theory from a textbook. It is a powerful, practical tool you can literally use today to evaluate that great idea you've got or any industry you're curious about. You now officially have the toolbox. So I'll leave you with this one question. Now that you have the tools to see those hidden forces that shape every single business, what industry will you analyze first?